What's up, y'all? I'm LTJ Reeds. This is Throwing Light. And if you're not throwing light, you're not acting right. And we are going down under. This episode of Throwing Light is super special. I've been looking forward to this. We have put a panel together of all the Australian contestants that are going to International Mr. Leather 2025 this year. And I actually have one of my brothers from last year's class here, Igor. So I want to go ahead and introduce everybody, and we're going to get started because I think this is just going to be a very exciting episode. I think a lot of people are looking forward to watching this either live or recorded. But let's go ahead and let's introduce everybody. First, Igor, Coach. We've got Coach here. Mr. Sydney, Leather 2023. And IML Class 46. Say something.
Hello.
There you go.
Thank you for having us.
Wait, hold on. Coach, I can't hear you.
No.
Audio. No audio. We can come back to you. We can come back. Okay. So we'll come back to Coach. Okay, now we've had some. This is Shane. Shane, this is your return to Throwing Light. Welcome back. I had you on in December, I believe. Was that correct?
I had such a blast. I fancied coming back.
Australia Leather 2023.
Mr. Australia Leather 2023, yes.
There we go. I'm grateful to have you back. You are a big supporter of this, and I really appreciate you being so into this platform and really pushing it and giving it life. So I'm very thankful for your support, Shane. Thank you so much. Now on to the new people that I've got on the show. I'm so excited. First, let's bring on Timo, right? Mr. Sydney Leather 2024.
Thank you so much for having me here.
And you know what? I want to also say where everyone at. So Coach is in Sydney.
That's correct.
Shane is in Brisbane, Queensland. Okay. So I have to give a geography lesson right quick. Okay. There's 6 states in Australia and 2 territories that govern themselves, correct? Is that close?
Sort of, yeah, close enough.
Anyways, so this is what I understand. Coach is in Sydney, which is in New South Wales.
New South Wales. That's
your
right.
state. Okay, so that's also where Timo is. Mr. Sydney Leather 24 is also in New South Wales and Sydney. Then we've got Shane, who's in Brisbane, which is in Queensland, correct?
That's correct.
And we've got Brendan, who is visiting Queensland right now, and Brendan is your Mr. Queensland Leather 2023.
Yes, I live in Queensland. I'm visiting another state at the moment.
Okay. Cool. All right. Yeah. And so then we have Jay, who is in Victoria, which is where Melbourne is, and that's where he is. So everybody is on the eastern side of the country, correct? Okay.
Yes.
And
right.
I do have some questions about the West and some of your other major cities, but we'll get into that. But this is your IML class, y'all, going to Australia this year. I think it's pretty awesome. I guess it's time to kind of dive into this. So, I've been watching as much as I can. So one day, hope you guys can bring me there. If you bring me there, I might not come back, though. Probably that's what's going to happen. Y'all have to smuggle me there. I just see your leather community and just really thriving in so many ways and see you guys involved in so much. I know that you've had some contests that just passed by and all of that sort. But for a lot of people, that aren't aware, everyone is aware. The United States is not going through a very good time in terms of self-preservation and inspiring others to be, beacons of progress and love in some way as much as you can love on this place called Earth. And I just want to just come out and just kind of vocally thank these wonderful people for wanting to come to our country during this time and compete in our international competition in Chicago and I am so glad, and I hope you guys come out and rock it. But it means, I just want to say, in my eyes, I just want to go ahead and acknowledge you guys. You guys are heroes by coming here and trying to keep our leather family together, and this in this time. And I'm hoping that through conversations like this and trying to shed light on each other's communities and how we're progressing and improving is a way to inspire us and get hope in terms of keeping ourselves together. So I just want to say thank you very much. I think everyone that is coming to IML that is an international contestant is a hero right now, and I can't wait to meet all of you. So, okay, well, let's go ahead and kick into it. Let's start off with Timo. How's it going? What are you up to?
It's going very well, thank you. It's less than 3 weeks now. Oh, actually, no, today is exactly 3 weeks that I fly. So getting pretty excited now and nervous.
Is it 3 weeks?
No, the competition is almost 4 weeks away, but we fly. I want to get there ahead of time and get the jet lag as under control as I can.
So you're going for 2 weeks, basically.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So I was like, if I travel there, am I going to really need about a week? Like, as a visitor coming from here to there, how many days do you really need to come and visit Australia, taking jet lag into consideration? Because everybody, they are 15 hours ahead of us right now. I don't know. Yeah, y'all are on the same time zone because y'all are on the same side of the coast. So they're 15 hours. And I've already asked this last time when I had Shane. I don't know if I've ever asked you, but they cannot predict the future. I already asked this question. So even though that they're 15 hours ahead, we can't get a heads up or anything like that. Like but it is Friday here and it's Saturday there, but we are in the same time continuum. I don't know how this shit works. Okay. So anyways. Okay, so Timo, that's great. You're down in Sydney. How's the weather?
Beautiful. I was at the beach an hour ago, so it's a beautiful autumn morning. And
you live near the beach?
What's that?
You live near the beach?
The beach is a 2-minute walk from my place, so I'm very lucky. I got to have a little swim before we got on the call.
Well, that's an early swim, huh?
Yeah, I'm an early person too.
Okay,
so it's all good. Yeah,
and I'm more of a like an 11:30 in the morning, a late morning person. That's what I am. So if you want to ever invite me and we go at like 10 a.m., I'm down. But I don't.
Yeah, I've got hours. I think I might be the oldest person on the call.
It sounds cold. It sounds cold. I don't like cold water at all. Okay, so let's go somewhere I have never heard about much about. Let's talk about Melbourne. Jay.
Let's talk about Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really good. It's been such a pretty hectic time the last few weeks. Just with like trying to get some fundraising stuff done and running an event just to help support this IML dream and journey. And I've been just so blessed with so much support from everyone in Melbourne and from all over the place, really. I launched a GoFundMe a couple of weeks ago and was really fortunate to just get heaps of support. I hit all my targets. So I'm just kind of in a bit of a relief stage, just knowing that it's really locked in now. And now that all the business has kind of happened, I was performing last weekend on tour with Mr. Rocco Steele, which was a lovely opportunity to have. But it's just like time to knuckle down and head down and bum up and, really get prepared for what's ahead. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
And so, moving forward, I want to apologize for I have my medal right here, by the way. Okay, y'all are gonna have one of these soon. I apologize for my accent. First of all, one, I'm from Louisiana, and so I'm not going to say things right. And two, apparently, we just found out that we are an English-speaking country, but it's American, so we speak American here. So I might not quite hit all the actual language notes and rhythms correctly. Okay, so I'm apologizing now. But Laird, that's not, how do you say it, Jay?
Laird.
Laird. It's kind of like got a little Boston kind of thing to it. Laird. Okay, so are you the first going to IML?
No, there's been quite a few Laird Leathermen that have gone before me. But yeah, essentially my title is a bar title that represents the Laird Hotel that's been around since 1980, and it is predominantly a male-only space. They house many different events in different communities, and I had actually gone to a trip to San Francisco in 2023, and it was an incredible life-changing moment for me to walk around that incredible city and soak up that history and the ancestry of that city. And by the time I come back, I was like really keen to put an application in for Laird Leatherman because the competition had returned, and I was very fortunate enough to win and have just the most incredible year of my life with my title. It's incredibly rewarding and exhausting, but just so purposeful and oddly spiritual. It was a really, really incredible experience to have. So yeah, pretty blessed. And Melbourne's got a wonderful kink and fetish scene. We have Melbourne Rubber here. We have Vic Bears here. We have Vic Par, the state pub and handler kind of community. And so it's really lovely to just have so much crossover between those communities during my title year. It was really important to me because I do feel sometimes there is a little bit of reading that goes on between communities, but I just think it's so much better if we all just come together. And so I really tried to focus on that during my title year. And it was just really amazing to go into other communities and see what really worked and then try and implement that in my own community, but also to represent Leathermen outside of our leather communities and you know, kind of be there as a presence and be visible, and just to let people know that they're not big, scary, mean-looking men with Muir cups and all black leather, you know.
So that is really awesome. Okay, cool. Right on. Okay, so then let's pop up to Queensland. Let's talk to you, Brennan. Mr.
Hi.
Queensland 2023. Okay, now,
Yes.
so you're in the state of Queensland right now.
That's right. Well,
You're
I'm visiting Melbourne. I'm visiting Jay. I'm visiting, and
Okay.
Shane, and Coach are all in Melbourne this weekend because Mr. Australian Leather Comp was on. We're all visiting a comp this weekend.
Okay.
But I live in Brisbane.
Okay, I got confused. Okay, so y'all are in Melbourne. Cool. I wish I was there. That sounds fun.
Everyone except Timo is in Melbourne visiting this weekend.
Cool. All right, makes sense now. Brendan, representing the Queensland. You know, so what's a little bit of Brisbane life been like for you in terms of your title year?
Yeah, Brisbane's been a very nice community. We're all very close knit. So yeah, the main fetish club, the one that I represent, is the Buco Brisbane. That's a men's leather and fetish club. We've been around since the 90s, and I've been crowning Mr. Queensland Leathers since then. So there's quite a rich history there. And there's also Queensland Leather Pride. Shane in this meeting was the former president of that, so we have a close relationship with them. Each year, the two clubs come together to produce Brisbane Leather Week, the week in which Mr. Queensland is crowned. We also have Brisbears and Queensland Pups and Handlers, other organisations that represent the bears and the pups community in Brisbane.
That's awesome.
But
Brisbane Leather Weekend. We'll come back to that. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Are you in Melbourne too?
Sorry, me?
Are you in Melbourne? Shane.
Oh, me, yes. I am currently in Melbourne. I became a dad last night, so yes.
All right. So since the last time we've been on here, you know, I've seen you've been doing a lot of traveling, things like that. Tell people a little bit what it's like to have the Australian leather title.
Yeah, it's an experience. It's a ride. It does involve thinking on a bigger scale. That was one of the biggest challenges for me, was to start thinking on a national scale and international scale as well, and really forming those connections beyond my state and beyond my home city. So, but I've loved every minute of it. It's had its challenges. And I'm looking forward to the next person who was awarded last night. I'm looking forward to their journey and supporting that and mentoring them through their year. So yes, I'm very excited.
That's great. I'm gonna have some questions in pertains to reaching out to other regions and areas. Coach, is your sound back on?
Is it? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you're here. Cool. Awesome.
We can hear you, mate.
Oh, I missed that voice.
Fantastic. Good to be back.
It's great to have you back. Sometimes we're like the ghost of Christmas passes or something like that. Okay, so since your step down, since you transitioned from being a title holder, and what has been more unless your involvement your post-sash life?
Uh, Such life is only for a term, so it's always going to be a temporary thing. I find the real value of what you do after that counts, being still present in the community instead of disappearing into the ether, as you've mentioned. So I'm still around. I'm still doing work with the Sydney Leathermen, which is our home club for the sash. I'm going to be doing a project very soon called Boundless Conversations, which is going to be a podcast talking about people's stories and seeing what their experiences have been in the leather community or the fetish community abroad, and just capturing those stories and preserving them for history because I've heard a lot of stories in the past about what the scene used to be like. The scene changes and evolves, and especially with current climates and things that happen around the world, it's always ever evolving. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But in the since my step down, I've been coaching and supporting my sash son Timo. That's been a very rewarding experience myself. So yeah, I'll just continue to do that, do things in the community, support organizations, and yeah, just keep being present. I think it's important.
Right on. Timo, so your title year, what has been more or less your platform in terms of, what's been important to you to focus on in the community?
Couple of things. So I attend all of the Sydney Leatherman events. Sydney Leatherman is the organization that Coach and I are representatives of, and for me, it's really important. In the same way that Jay was saying about, often we're seen as intimidating, making sure that particularly new folks who might be at their first event, that they're really welcome, and because we can look intimidating even though we're not once you kind of get to know all of us, making sure that people do feel welcome, and so I always try and keep an eye out, like who do I not know in the room, and try and make sure that I say hello to them and get to know them a bit. And then the other piece, I've been sober for 13 years, and I do think that it is really important to give visibility to sobriety. I'm very secure in my sobriety now. I wasn't for a long time. I didn't go out for almost a decade while I figured myself out. And my re-entry into the community was in 2021 after the Sydney lockdown ended, and it there is a great deal of privilege in being secure in my sobriety, and I feel like I can support others in that, but also just letting people know that there are sober people in the community and you can still have a great time.
So, if you don't mind me asking, Timo, what are you sober from?
Alcohol was my downfall. I come from a family severely impacted by addiction. I've lost 4 close family members to addiction, and so it is something I do feel passionately about, because addiction is a matter of life and death. It is that serious, and so I feel like it's an area where I can make a real difference by being a resource to others in the community.
That's awesome. And then, in terms of visibility, you said, there are a lot of people I find sometimes in the leather community that are in their leather, but they're not welcoming, if that makes sense, and almost seem to kind of like block people in a way. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's
I
so
do.
important that we aren't creating a culture of leather where we're trying to intimidate, you know what I'm saying? And it seems that, and there, there's what I perceive to be an abusive leather culture in so many different ways. People taking our culture and, fetishizing what's more than just fetishes to our community and our kinks and also our activism and there's a whole shebang that goes with that. And just like in superficial cases, like, I don't know how your leather events though, but we have most of the people coming to these events to go to the parties. And so, Timo, with your sobriety, are you in the bars a lot? And what's
I
public
am.
like there?
And and sometimes it's a challenge because I'm also, I turned 50 in a couple of weeks, and so without any kind of stimulant, sometimes like being at the bars and clubs, like it's just tiring. And I saw Jay in Sydney last week as part of the tour that he was on, and I don't think I've ever consumed as much Red Bull as I did that night, just to be able to stand up. But it was really important to catch up with Jay, and was great. But yeah, um, look, like I said, it took me almost a decade to be secure enough to be in those spaces, and like when I got sober in 2012, I I literally went into isolation for a long, long time because I could not be around alcohol. We didn't have any alcohol at home. My husband isn't sober, but he drinks very little, and for a couple of years we had no alcohol in the house. We do now, but I don't even think about it. But yeah, it has been a long, long journey, and people who've known me for all of that time know how difficult the early years were. People that have known me for a shorter time might not, that they've not seen the kind of the incredibly difficult road that was. But like I said, I'm in a good place now, in a very secure place, and I do feel like I can be a resource for others.
That's great. That's fantastic. Brendan, when you're in Queensland, I mean, how much outreach and involvement are you doing with like more of the rural areas of your state? Is it difficult to go in other smaller towns and advocate for leather?
Yeah, most of the community in Queensland is centered around southeast Queensland. We did during the title year make sure to go out to some of the other events, not just in Brisbane. We went down to Gold Coast Pride. I did, and my Sash siblings, which was Shane and Chavez. And we also went out to Ipswich Pride in the western suburbs. There isn't, unfortunately, that much of a community in the rest of the state of Queensland, but we did try to make a focus on
That's right. We'll come back to him. We'll see if he comes back on. Jay, all right. What has been what have you found? Have you
Sorry, I just dropped out there.
oh,
I'm
you're
back
back.
now.
Okay.
Sorry.
Finish what you were saying, Brendan.
I don't know where I cut out, but yes, I did try to have a focus on the other areas of southeast Queensland, not just Brisbane.
So my question is to name a really small town in Queensland that you think is perceptive to having leather culture there, or are there towns or people in small towns that reach out to you in terms of how to find space or how to survive in their smaller areas?
Yeah, definitely. Townsville is a community that it's not really, it's 100,000 people, which I guess is on the scale of things smaller. And I know a ton of kinky people in that city. One of the Sash siblings, Vic, who just stepped down last night, even went there for their Townsville Pride to represent. The trouble with Townsville is it's very similar to Florida weather. So it's not very conducive to wearing leather most of the year, unless you're in a room with the air conditioning blasting. But that's just the trouble of geography.
I'm in Texas, and I just, or something. I'm in Texas, and I mean it's like literally 2 degrees like under hell. It's so effing hot here. So and that's why I'm like, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm Mr. Body Positivity. You're not going to see me in a whole lot of leather. I found a way to be leather as an extension of myself, but it's really hard to go in full leather, like especially in August, and walk down the street and be in like a parade and all that. It is so hot. So yeah, Texas is just all kinds of just hot, and mean people here. That's another story. Okay,
Of course, and gear doesn't make a Leatherman, of course. You can be wearing whatever you want, and you're still going to be part of our community regardless.
That part. Thank you for saying that. Jay, okay, you said particularly in your community so far, it's just men. Am I correct?
The title that I represent, the venue is predominantly male only. So and it's been like that for quite a while. But it was really, really important to me during my title year to also, because there's no other leather titles in Victoria. So the only leather title that exists in my state is Laird Leatherman, and it's been in that was kind of born in 2008. So I kind of figured pretty early on, once I kind of understood the community that I had to look after, which, falls under the umbrella of the Laird, I actually felt it was really important for me to go out to the other communities and get to know the leather people and kink and fetish people outside of the Laird that couldn't really have that as a space to explore. And towards the end of my title year, I was really fortunate enough to do an event called Unity, which was a all-inclusive event. We have a night every Thursday night down at the Laird called Spit and Polish. So it's like our weekly gear night. We've got boot blacks, and it's lovely and social. And everyone can like wear their gear, whatever they're into. But predominantly, those nights are really just for men only. And once I kind of, really start to understand that there is a community beyond the Laird Hotel, it was really integral to me to understand that and support that, as well as supporting the venue that held my title. And so just before I stepped down, I had a beautiful night on one of the spit and polishes. And I also ran an event during my title year called Follow the Leatherman, which essentially was like a monthly meetup for newbies or people that had gone to the Laird that might have not had a good time or felt welcomed. Or I really believe fetish and kink and all these spaces should never be intimidating. It should really be the opposite. And if we look to all our ancestors of this community, so many of them pioneered that. And so it was really important to me to carry that legacy and to broaden the community, particularly with the younger folk that might have been curious, in the same way that my fairy god gay fathers took me under their wings and taught me about leather and gave me books about BDSM, and I'd be going home and soaking it up. And, so to really be able to finally have one inclusive event and look across the room and see a whole, kaleidoscope of kinksters really, really meant a lot to me. And I think that night will probably carry over into the future. So, that was definitely a highlight.
Where are the leather women? What are they doing in your community, or what has there been outreach, or do they operate differently?
There's not really a lot of spaces for leather women, and that's something that I've reached out to Dykes on Bikes and a lot of leather women just individually to get to know their stories and what it is that they need. It's leather women are such an integral part of our history and community, and it's never sat right with me that I do feel like they're very under-acknowledged. And it really hit home for me during my title year when I met Itzbear for the first time, who was Miss Sydney Leather, Igor's Sash sister. And I interviewed her and I said, so what is it that you want the community to know about leather women. And she turned around and she said, "We exist," and it really stuck with me. Last night the Australian leather comp, I had gotten kind of close to one of the contestants, Demeanor, and she was fortunate enough to win the title. And so I really look forward to building a relationship with her. We had a great conversation, and after I get back from IML, I'd really love to continue trying to create more spaces and create, more platforms so these leather women are visible and present and acknowledged in the way that they need that they should be.
Awesome. I want to pick up on the comment that you made, Shane, that thinking nationally has been a little more difficult. I will make people that might not know a lot about Australian geography a little aware of this, but so what's happening in Western Australia and Southern Australia? I hear that Perth and Adelaide are large cities. Have you had an opportunity to go over there and, what's happening over there? Has anybody been over to that side? Shane?
Yes, Perth. I've been over to Perth during my title year, which was definitely something I wanted to do and felt important. It was for the Australian Pup and Handler competition. Uh, and you know what? They've got a really thriving and growing community over there. The issue that they face is obviously geography and the expense of traveling to the eastern states, where a lot of the focus of these community is. But it's really, really good to see them growing. They've, in the last kind of 5 to 10 years, they have just exponentially grown. And we've got international title holders that are currently living in Perth. We've got Pup Jacks who just stepped aside. We've got Australasian title holders that have been there. Australasian Bears that currently live there. So it's really good. South Australia is a lot easier, I think, geographically. Many of us attend South Australia every year for the Geared Festival in Adelaide, and that's always a melting pot of many interstate travellers because they're all excited about what Geared is all about. So, yeah, it's a geographical issue because, I think the statistic is about 83% of the Australian population live on the coastline of Australia. So in the centre of Australia, there's almost nothing.
Yeah.
So it makes those communities a lot smaller if you are kinky, and you would feel a little more isolated if you're not living on the East Coast or you're living in a regional town.
I think I've asked this before, but what's the distance from coast to coast? How many hours?
About 5 hours in flying, roughly.
I'm talking about driving.
Something like 40 hours, I think.
You said 14?
40.
40 hours.
From north to south is about 23.
So east to west is 40 hours. Huh. Okay. So in terms of, you mentioned geography though, and everyone near the coast, but there seems to be so much more going on in the east. So do they have a lot of coastal towns and cities on the west coast or is it just like Perth and then there's nothing else, or Adelaide and there's nothing else? Like, what's it like? Are there lots of coastal towns?
They're just your major cities, really, and that's where people tend to kind of gather, be it industry, especially for work. Perth is a mining town, so a lot of people travel there to do work, and that's where they all end up. That's where the money is, I guess. That's where they go.
Did you find that your presence just going over there as Mr. Australia was much appreciated? Was it cool to I don't know what any of I don't know much about Mr. Australians that come before you, but is it somewhat of a goal to try to be connected, nationally?
Yeah, I think everyone who takes this mantle intends to try and travel as much as they can and connect with as many different smaller communities as we possibly can. And I think that we all share that vision, which is beautiful. So yeah, it was important to me, and it was really, really good to actually see the people that had been traveling to the East Coast for many years that I'd met up with, and to reconnect with those people in their hometowns and home cities like Perth. For me, it was beautiful to see them in their home territory and see, the normal kind of leather events that they have, and bear events and pup events that they have, and see them in their own comfortable settings. That was really special.
Awesome. Coach, all right. So, the culture was very different when me and you competed last year. As you know, things have changed. Our political climate has changed drastically. And so, your leather family here this year are going to this competition in a complete different environment, and especially when representation means more than anything than ever right now, as you guys come
Yeah.
at here. You know, um, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about where your siblings are going and what kind of political environment they're coming to?
I am nervous and excited for them. I know that IML is an opportunity of a lifetime, and their presence there will be very inspiring, especially to the next generation, and to the and to everyone there currently. Even myself, I'm worried about what will happen when I cross that border. Will I get searched? Will I get turned back? There's always that unknown factor of um, why are we doing this? But I believe that when we all go together and do things together, we can actually strive to achieve things. Um, so I'm just proud to be going along for the ride and supporting the new class of 47. I know how much the journey meant to me last year, and I want them to have an even better experience than I did. And I love my time. So uh, I'm just looking forward to seeing my fellow siblings from my class. That's going to be amazing. No pressure, just pure joy. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to the positives.
Okay, so you are in the reunion chat, right?
I am in the reunion
So
chat,
yeah, all right,
yes.
cool. Yeah. So yeah, and I was contestant number one, so I just felt it was in my nature to try to put on a reunion for us. Like I just wanted to. And then also, as Igor says, without the pressure, like I always just say, you guys are gonna be sequestered. I don't really like, he's going to be there for you, but like we probably won't see much of you except for that Saturday evening, really. And so you're going to be leaning on each other, but I 100% believe that my national leather family here, and my Sash son and all of my Texas siblings are going to embrace you guys and make you feel very welcomed and a part. I definitely don't want, we're not going to let you come there and feel like that you're huddled together or anything like that. That's not going to be the energy. Igor knows what it's like. Coach knows what it's like being sequestered, and it's pressure, and you're going to need a lot of just like trying to, what am I looking for? To take your mind off of it, because it's a big deal, but it's not the competitive aspect that it needs to take the forefront, because everyone steps on this stage, and it's an international stage. And from that moment, what you decide to yeah, getting international Mr. Leather is great. Everybody goes there to compete with that. But if that is the only thing driving you when the contest is over, like people are really watching what you do after. And I think, coach, to us, they're seeing, oh, is this person really serious? And I'll be straight up with you. There, we had a class of 59, and a couple could not go because of like health reasons and things like that. But like, I don't know, maybe 25 of us are like talkative. I don't know if that's the word to use. I mean, like, or active. Does that make sense, coach?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like
I know
you
what you mean.
have what I perceive your all stars that will emerge,
Yeah.
and you just like I don't know. I find a very very natural inclination to embrace you all, and it comes a lot from having that connectivity with Eeyore when we were in our competition, and knowing it's a big deal for him to be there. And now you got a class, like, you got 4 people going this year, and it just means so much. It just, you come into this means more, and just the weight of it that maybe we all can't understand because we're in it right now. But you coming here is a big deal, and coming with the team that, it's like the Olympics, man. It's the Leather Olympics. It really is. I
Look,
guess.
for Australia, it's been amazing because there's been a lot of representation this year round. Um, Not only are the most male contestants ever going to IML, but our current Sydney Miss Leather, Lani Diggett, she's at IMSL as we speak. So I think they're actually doing their contestant introductions right now. So having that international representation is really, really important to us to let people know that we are here, we are kinky. You know, we'd love everyone to come down under. We had Jonas, who was Mr. Vic Bear, compete on an international bear stage, coming runner-up as well. So the Aussies are really, the communities around here are actually getting stronger and stronger, and we're actually being more visible. And we want to bring that to the rest of the world. We want to be a part of that. And I know what the experience for me was at IML when, you know, the brotherhood or the siblinghood comes together and everyone kind of shares a special bond for what we're there for together. And to me, the whole reason why we're there is to represent, is to have that experience. You know, like you said, competing is one thing, but if that's all you're there for, you'll disappear after it and nothing will come of it. But I think everyone here is really, really nervous and excited, and I think they have a lot to offer. So I'm looking forward to what they do in their time in Chicago.
And just to piggyback on what you're saying, Coach, but if you're just going there for cover, you're not going to have fun. And let me tell you this: I did not have fun. I had fun. I did not have, like, it wasn't all fun, and that was my title. That was
No.
my title experience early on, especially pre. I'm just not enjoying it. When the pressure was off, it just felt so. I'm coming back with the hopes to finally actually get the opportunity to be in the headspace to enjoy my brother here. And
Absolutely.
I would just say that if you can, to just try to not get in your head, because it can get overwhelming, and you got to pull yourself out. I pulled number one. I've never been to IML before. So, don't let the experience overwhelm your impacts or make you feel as if you are underperforming in any way. Like, y'all are going to do incredible, I'm sure. All right, I'm going to do kind of like this kind of rapid fire kind of thing to throw some questions out there. Okay, so Brennan, what has been one of your most inspirational moments as a title holder, and something that really, really inspired you, or maybe a moment that you inspired somebody else?
One of my proudest moments was organizing the Fetish Australia Mardi Gras float. So we had about 80 people going down the street together, and it was really inspiring to see all these 80 people showing their best kinky selves to a crowd of about 50,000 people around the street of Sydney. It was really good to show that off.
That's awesome. So I'm curious because I am a Creole from Louisiana, and I am very well
Yeah,
aware of
it's a Sydney gay and lesbian Mardi Gras. So
that. So I'm
it's a
like,
gay
I am
it's a
like,
gay version of Mardi Gras.
man, that alone makes me want to come over just to see what this Mardi Gras is about. But like, let me tell you something. New
It's a
Orleans
full
Mardi
week
Gras,
of gay frivolity.
New Orleans people. I'm so grateful that we have that place. It really is a treasure. And to hear y'all doing a Mardi Gras down there, that's so freaking cool. That's awesome. So yes, let me know when the next one is. We'll see. All
End
right.
of February next
So
year.
what's that? What'd you say?
The end of February next year.
Oh, okay. Okay. And is it warm? Because it's
Yeah, it's warm.
it's
It's
our
pretty hot.
winter here.
Yeah.
February is my least favorite month over here. It's so cold. Okay, so what's been your favorite event, Shane, that you've attended?
My favorite event that I've been to, my goodness, wow, there are so many. Uh, Actually, I've really enjoyed going to communities and actually outside of the big events. I've really enjoyed. They've been some of the most meaningful events that I've been to. Just their monthly meetups, their weekly meetups. Um, you really get to see the genuine community, those people that might not turn up to the big events because they are overwhelmed, but to see them still coming to the smaller events with their local people. Yeah, they're the true backbone of their local communities, those people that do come out. So it's been really lovely and a really special moment for me to be able to go to these things and connect with these people.
It's awesome. Timo, has anyone ever reached out to you privately or anything, just kind of like for guidance? Have you had to do much mentoring as a title holder?
All the time, and that to me is one of the greatest privileges. I would say I get contacted on socials weekly for some kind of guidance. It might be regarding gear, it might be regarding events. It's easy for us to forget how intimidating just coming to an event for some people is, and just being able to lower that barrier for some people. Even just a couple of weeks ago at our monthly social for Sydney Leatherman, there were a couple of newcomers. It was their first time, and it was really nice to see them, having chatted with them online beforehand, for them to get the courage to actually come.
Jay, do you encounter much challenges with diversity, down in your region? What is inclusion like for you down there? Like, how do you perceive inclusion to be?
I think we do pretty well. I think inclusion is a very complex and, unique experience for the people that, need to feel it. The good thing is we have such a broad range of kinks and fetishes, and I definitely love those opportunities where, we get to kind of come together under one roof. And that's really what was so beautiful about the last two nights, having the Australian comp down here in Melbourne. To look across the room and see a whole conglomerate of different people, gender expressions. We had bears, leather people, rubber people, pups, and I really savor those moments where we do have those opportunities to all come together under one roof, and I can kind of step outside of like the maskness and the manliness of the Laird. That's just one aspect of my personality and my heart. But I feel I really thrive when we do have those opportunities, and I really want to continue to keep trying to create more of those opportunities here in Melbourne with the platform I've been so lucky to been delivered with this title.
So, Coach, what is your advice for your siblings here in terms of? Let me just ask you this. We all perform. Everybody, if you step on a stage and represent yourself, you're doing the damn thing. No worries about that. But this is just a little, hey, Coach, what would you do differently if you were to enter the IML contest again? Like, how would you present yourself? Or do you feel that you presented everything that you wanted to present last year?
So first of all, I would never put myself on that stage again. That was terrifying. Not to scare everyone off. Every time I see people step on the stage, I commend them on their bravery, because it is, again, making yourself vulnerable every single time you're up there. Look, for me, I don't look back with regrets. It wasn't a perfect thing. I didn't have all the information that I could have had to actually nail everything perfectly and not worry about anything. In some regards, that helped me to strive to do better and be better. There's a lot of advice out there. Take it with a grain of salt. This is your journey, your experience. Do it your way. It's about you being your authentic selves. So take on board all that information, but present you who you are. And when you walk away from doing that, you won't have regrets.
Don't compare yourself to anybody else on that stage. If you're looking left or right, that's just to make sure that you're supporting your brother, your non-binary brother or sister, anything. Any of your siblings. Like, we look left and right for support, but never to compare. And everybody has a special moment that creates. I call it, look, this is a snapshot of your legacy. That's all it is. And once the competition is over, the placements go away too. They're gone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you have a podium of people, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to get opportunities to judge contests. You're not get opportunity. Like everybody has an opportunity to be involved and continue their legacy. Let's go to some more group questioning now here. This is for all of y'all. How often do you guys work together? Like pretty often? Like, is it just kind of here in Texas, we are aware of what's going on. We know who's where. And I mean, Texas is a big state, but we have our own little chat room that we keep, a Facebook chat where we all know what's going on. And it includes not just current title holders, but previous title holders. In our climate in Texas, we live in a very red state and red in terms of what is conservatism here, but conservatism is just kind of like right now has been kind of hijacked by a cult. And so we've got this weird break in reality, and we have people creating an alternate reality in the country that is not our reality, which sucks. So, in our state, we have to be worried about guns big time here. This is a very pro-gun state. We have to think about our safety. We have to think about our protection a lot. And that was before the orange guy that I don't like to say his name because it just makes my stomach like I can't. So I can't refer to him as number 47. And so, but I do not consider this man to be presidential. It sucks because you've got Americans like me, and there's a lot of people like me that want us to be heard right now, but we've got this blockage that's happening, and it really sucks. So I'm hoping when you guys come here, there is still hope here in the United States. There is. And I hope that you can come here and help us try to inspire our own nation and try to get back and at least save there's war and famine and all that stuff. Integrity is questionable as is, but if we could do a better job in how we treat our neighbors. And this is not, I never in a million years, and I'm telling you guys here, I'm telling everybody, I never thought I would wake up and be a villain. And I didn't choose this. Everything I was taught in school is against what's happening in our country right now. They're trying to rewrite our history. They've already taken away any kind of diversity programs. That's all happened within months, y'all. And these people aren't taking it seriously because they don't feel it yet. And I mean, we literally have people in office that think that, I don't know how to say this, but white is right. And if you're not white and if you're not wealthy, like you don't have a value. And that's what people aren't seeing it yet because we are a very diverse population, but people they're not feeling yet the oppression that is going to come from all of these horrendous policies, getting rid of our Department of Education, horrendous horrors that should not be happening in the United States. But like I said, my goal to come back to IML is to reconnect with my brother here, to reconnect with all of my brothers because we need each other. Like our work is not done, and we need each other to keep doing our work. And you guys just keep holding on, and you keep strong here. But I see it looks like that you have a good brotherhood going on. Shane.
If I may answer that, yes, we do. To the first part of your question, yeah, we do work together. We work together not just as males, but also with our other genders as well. I personally have set up a chat, as you have also mentioned, but Fetish Fellowship, I called it, and it was about kind of the last 3 years of title holders, and it was to create a space for support and mentorship through each other, and that includes title holders not just leather title holders, but bear title holders, rubber title holders, puppy title holders, to all connect and support each other, to learn from each other. other's mistakes and celebrate each other's successes. And then in my own home state in Brisbane, we have monthly meetups of all of these title holders in person to check in on how people's years are going, how the past years were, what we can do to support them, who we can connect them with, and what issues they're facing. So we do work together, and we're hoping that that really shines through at IML, that we are a really cohesive community down here. For the most part, all communities are not without their problems, but we do strive for unity. And over, over LGBTQIA plus history, we have faced many, many crises through the decades. And the one thing that is crystal clear to me is that we have overcome them, and we have done that through unity, through whether that be the lesbians, the dykes on bikes, actually supporting people through the HIV crisis, political change and those kind of things. We can get through this. We will get through this, but we have to do it together.
Yeah, I agree with that. What are some, again, these are questions, y'all, what are some global efforts we can make in terms of, we are going through a bit of a crisis within the culture, because now we have this group that is LGB without the T. So again, the reality that is really happening, I live in, and everybody that you're going to see at IML lives in, but this is the most betrayal. Like it's almost more, we're more angry at that than actually, the normal people that are up for that, because it is a very disgenuine point of view to have, because trans people have always been here and have been at the forefront of political rights. But do y'all get that there? How is the trans community treated in Australia? Any of you?
Celebrated.
Yeah,
That's they're celebrated by us. Unfortunately, there are some issues. I don't want to take the spotlight from you all. If you've got something to say, please put your hands up or speak out. But there are, unfortunately, recent times we've had puberty blockers have actually been tried to be stopped in some states, and access to life-saving healthcare has tried to be opposed and retracted. But I think many of us have all turned up to the rallies to support the trans folk and their plight. And I think that's gone a long way into helping them. But yeah, by all means, the rest of you, please comment.
Yeah,
I think definitely. Oh, sorry,
sorry.
Timo, you go.
Timo, you go first.
I was just going to add to Shane. The US might be sort of leading in the anti-trans rhetoric, and I would say to some extent the UK as well, especially given the Supreme Court decision in the UK last week or the week before. All of that influences what happens in the rest of the world, and we have seen, to Shane's point, some of that here. But I will say, thankfully, the vast majority of the leather community, including leather men, we stand by our trans siblings, steadfast, arms locked. This is the time to stand together. Anyway,
So,
sorry, Jay.
What about
Absolutely.
Jay? You go ahead, and then I want to ask another question.
I was kind of going to echo the same thing as Timo. I think one of the beautiful things that I had the experience of last year running my meetup group for newbies was having trans men come and approach me. So they had someone to come to the Laird and experience it. And those people have given me some of the most beautiful friendships that I've ever had. And spending time with them after the events and, going and eating a Big Mac at Macca's together and, just hearing their stories and what goes on. I think the best way we can support, our trans brothers and sisters is to really get to know their stories and really ask them what it is that they want and how we can use our privilege that comes with getting a title to share that with people like trans people that necessarily don't have that privilege. That's one of the most beautiful gifts for me about being a title holder is to go out and really understand how we can pioneer people feeling the way I do in a space where not everyone feels like that. And I've been really blessed with the trans people that have come into my circles and educated me and uplifted me. And I will always, always have their backs. If there's anyone out there that thinks that they can remove the the T from our queer alphabet, that's just ridiculous. That's like trying to, excuse the metaphor, but that would be like removing like Madonna from like female pop people. Trans people, look at historically what they've done. They've fought and stuck up for us right from the beginning, and we need to be there just as much for them as they have been for us. It's absolutely integral to everyone's well-being. If one of us is hurt, we're all hurt. And I think in Australia we see what's going on around the world, and I think in present company we all see this as a really important opportunity to use our titles to really protect and support our trans brothers and sisters.
All right, I've got one last question, and I'm going to leave this up for Brendan and Coach to talk about a little bit. We are expecting them to roll back gay marriage at any point. I am under the understanding that gay marriage was legalized in 2017 in Australia. Am I correct?
That's right. After a public vote.
It was what?
After a public vote.
What
all Australians.
Yeah.
So how was it an overwhelming vote?
63%.
Okay.
So pretty convincing. 63. 63.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Cool. That's good. Awesome. I believe like most people in this country really don't have an issue with gay marriage, but we have like kind of this red delusion that thinks that just because they have more states that are red, that they have more power, but it's less people in red states, and they're also the most uneducated ones too. So y'all might know this, but people in our own country don't. I don't know. I can tell you that there are kids in school that cannot spell most of the states in the United States, and some of them are hard to spell. They really are. So like I have to give adults a pass sometimes because some of the states are hard. But it's just like do you feel, and this is kind of more the final question, do you feel that at any inclination right now that there are still threats to your rights?
Not necessarily on gay marriage, but more broadly, we are seeing a regression of social rights, of social progress across the board. Like we were just speaking about, like in my state of Queensland, they just the government put out a directive that all public doctors are no longer to prescribe puberty blockers. So they're not necessarily banned outright, but right now, all public healthcare has gone for puberty blockers. So we're seeing that regression, being led more or less by the US, but it's our responsibility to push back against all that.
Right on. Coach?
Yeah, I'm just echoing what Brendan said. We are in I guess, a bit more of a fortunate space at the moment because the US is leading that, and it's not necessarily at our shores just yet. But when it does come to us, we'll have to fight back to these things because these are privileges that need to be for everybody because we're all human after all. It's not just for certain groups of individuals, certain sexes, married couples. So yeah, we still have our work cut out for us.
Right on. Shane, you got something? Go right ahead.
If I may add, I've actually experienced, it wasn't caused by it, but it was caused by when I moved. So when I moved over to Australia, I came from the UK, which had gay marriage for many years. And as I was growing up and accepting myself, that was a dream of mine to be married, find a husband. I was able to do that in the UK. And then I moved to Australia, which at the time when I moved had not had gay marriage. And, being told, oh, well, you can't get married here. You can't, your dream has to go on hold. It was tough. It was really, really tough. But as said before, we will get through this. Things will change, whether that we have to wait the full 4-year term. And we've also got to look that, there are also, we are going to IML, which is international, and these issues, whilst prevalent in the media and really, really impactful to the people that it's affecting, there are also countries that have never had gay marriage, and that's never been passed. So how can we support those? How can we push progress in those countries as well as keeping the rights of the citizens of the US and other first world countries?
I guess just on any note, I would love to see other countries really step up and be able to oppose what the United States is doing right now. And I hope that we wake up sooner than later. But this is what I do know. We're living in a very different United States than this administration might come to understand. And some of the things that might be in their playbook might think are going to work and short term get away with. But as people start to realize that they've lost things, then that's when you're going to see. And it's going to be a challenge. And I think you're going to see something play out in the United States internally that has to play out. And it's like we're going through another civil war, but it's a culture war. So but it's not like a 50-50 split. And I want people to know that the people in power are just loud. They're not the majority. And there was no like huge majority in the election. All of that's been spun by anything that, if you do not believe anything that this administration believes, it's fake news. That's all they do here. That's the only strategy they got, and people think that's enough. You've got a man that's a convicted felon. There's probably more criminal activity happening in the White House and than in the country, to be honest with you, because it's a house full of criminals right now. Our country has been hijacked by criminals. And so, not to say that our political people were not criminals before that. What I mean is that these are legitimate people that should not be in power, that are having control over things in the United States. That is frightening because, like I said, they are coming after everything at once. But they're very strategic in going after trans people because they can convince people that trans people are monsters. So they've used trans people as a scapegoat to do all of this horrible other stuff that no one's even focused on. Nothing that helps us. So by y'all coming here again, coming to our country, you are helping us feel like we're still good. So I want you guys, and just again, to know that we appreciate it. I've loved having you on the show. I am excited to meet everyone and give you hugs and hopefully get to chat. I want to talk to you all. I want to have a great time. So this has been Throwing Light. Aussies going to IML 47. I want to thank everybody. Jay, I want to thank you. Timo, I want to thank you. Shane, I want to thank you. Igor, I want to thank you. And Brennan, I want to thank you. But there's just one thing that you have to do in order for this show to end. Are you ready for this, guys? Because the show can't end unless you do this one thing, and the power's in your hands. All right, when I count to three, you're going to say, if you're not throwing light, you're not acting right. Are y'all ready? And I want a very Australian yell if you want. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
If you're not throwing light,
you ain't acting right.
Okay, I'll take that. All right, cool. Awesome. So I am looking forward to Throwing Light with y'all in Chicago. Thank you again. And thank you to everyone that's been supporting Throwing Light. We are getting close to our 100th episode, so stay tuned. I've got a huge surprise. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you.